Good evening, folks. Welcome back to another Wednesday night hobby hangout. I hope everybody is really well. Hope you've had a fantastic week so far. Hope you've managed to get a little bit of hobby in. Maybe you're sitting painting tonight. Let me know in the chat what you're up to. Are you painting tonight? Are you just sitting chilling? Are you reading a book and just listening? Who knows what you're doing? So let's have a look and see who we've got in the chat. Now, before I crack on to the chat, everything seems to be working so far tonight with the back to 1080p and all that kind of stuff. I think it must have been a YouTube issue that was, because I've not changed anything and everything's working fine. So let's have a look in the chat and see who we've got. So Peter Nicholas was in nice and early. Mark Wright, oh, is that in the right one? Let me just, is it on top chat or is it on live chat? It's on live chat. I'm having to do the chat from my phone tonight because I've not had a chance to kind of set up a screen and stuff next to me. So yeah, we got Mark Wright, we got Lord Maiden, hello to you fellows. Blizzards, hello mate. Ortega, hello, hello in the rerun. Let me just check. Yeah, I think everything seems to be working all right. It seems to be working okay. Who else have we got? Christian, good evening to you, sir. Hope you're well. Yoakum says he's join you as soon as I get home. Need to paint more skeletons. I'm assuming them are the Curse City ones, me, aren't they? Jeff says, good day. He says, I hope all are well. Happy Teacher Appreciation Day to those teachers in here. My school had yoga lessons and a DJ party since we were remote on Wednesdays. No meetings was my favourite part. I can't be bad, mate, can it? Tasty Brain Drain, hello to you. Hello, Peter Cooman as well. John Estel says, evening hooligans, painting up some Fleabag riders. A bit more Kings of War there, I assume, mate. Busey says, good evening. Time to open a beer. Another one and relax. I've got my can of Strongbow Dark Fruits tonight. I had one in the fridge, so that's what I'm drinking, so cheers. Try not to knock cameras and microphones and stuff like that. We got ER910 said it's noon in Arizona. Good afternoon to you then, sir. Lurking while working. Mark Corley's in as well. He's painting his Orc Boys. Nice to see you, mate. Ruas is in as well. Hello, Ruas. Good morning, VJ. Hope you're well. Lord Maiden says that's a new angle. So yeah, this is going to be the new kind of painting stream. So yeah, this is where we'll be painting from on a Wednesday night. Let's have a look. John saying that new setup looks like it was worth all the work. Yeah, I mean tonight is kind of like a first test. So I've got a lot of cables kind of lying around on the floor and stuff to make sure everything works. And then as long as everything goes okay, then we'll have a bit of a tidy up and stuff like that and get cables off the floor so there's no trip hazards and stuff. But yeah, seems to be coming together. Let's have a look. Warwick said I'm up to playing some PoE. I don't think I know what that is, mate. Busey said, whoa, look at that setup with the paints. Yeah, so these are the paints I always had in front of me, but what I've done is I've painted them the same colours. I've painted the racks the same colours of the wall, but yeah, it means when I'm painting I can actually access them as well. So as opposed to kind of like the way I was going to have the desk, I was going to have the desk around a different way, but then I couldn't access the paints. I thought it was going to be a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, I've kind of gone for that. Where else are we up to here? Blizzards is painting never born for the challenge. I've got some Malifaux on the table tonight as well. I'll get to that one in a second. Jeff's getting his Malifaux painting on. Marcus is chilling today with a massive headache. I hope you're okay, mate. Take a couple of paracetamols, you'll be fine. Tasty Brain Drain says that's an impressive setup, both the paints and the games. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, you can probably only see a little bit of it, but yeah, these are all the stuff a lot of it's been kind of tucked away in cupboards and in the loft and stuff like that. VJ says background's looking great, thank you very much. Peter Stockdale, hello to you. Fast Panda, hello fella, says he up me duck. VJ says have a cup of green tea and then going to hit the green stuff work. Green stuff and green tea, yeah, mate. Ghost Winters, good evening, mate. I'm very well, thank you very much. Stu McMurphy's in as well. Says morning all. Looking forward to a chill out over the next hour or two. Yeah, I mean, I literally have kind of. I said in the Patreon chat today. I've been building a new desk, so the desk arrived today, and it didn't come until about 4 o'clock. So yeah, I literally did slide across the line. Let me have a little look here as well. Krabby, good evening to you, mate. Phil Campbell, good evening as well. Peter says, excuse me, Andy, could you look to see if you have Mournfang Brown base? Just send it to the usual address. I do, mate. I have one of every base paint and one of every layer paint, and then all of the contrast paints, and then most of the washes and stuff. We've got Chesney Kennedy, hello to you. Hello Bobby Clark as well. Says he's been relaxing and casting resin bases today. Very nice. Path of Exile, not heard of that, mate. Duffy Mikowski, hello to you, mate. Tony Howell, good evening. Andy Smith, hello to you as well. Tasty Brindrin says Dark Fruit Strongbow sounds interesting, would like to try that. It's really, really tasty actually, mate. It obviously tastes quite fruity, but it's it's rather tasty. Let's have a little look. Matt M, good evening. Tony says, evening, probably just me, but the defocused background hurts my eyes. Does it really, mate? I've always had kind of like a defocused background. I might have turned it up a little bit more tonight, but I can adjust it for next time. But thankfully, you'll be seeing the painting more than this background, to be fair. Andy Smith says, so we're doing the Malifaux challenge as a family, so the starter set with it all. There's not a starter set, mate. There's lots of different core boxes, but there's no kind of starter set as such. Essentially, if you buy a couple of the core boxes, you've got two factions that you can kind of play with. Ariel Sanchez, hello to you, all the way from Florida. Says trying to prime using rattle can, but forgot to consider the 95-degree weather. Now it's shipping time. Justin, hello from Canada. There he says as well. Yeah, Andy, there's nothing with the tokens in, mate. No. Fast Panda says, tonight I'm painting Infinity Shazvasti. Me little buggers. Warwick says, Dark Fruit was really good stuff. Had some while visiting London. Yeah, it's quite tasty, mate, to be fair. Ghost Winter said, I heard Malifaux's on the table. Just my kind of hobby hangout. Yeah, I might as well kind of show you what we're painting tonight then as well. So, we are painting, we've got these fellas on the table tonight. So these are the ones from the Explorers Society, and these are from the On the Hunt core box. I don't think, is it a core box? It's like an expansion box, I think. But anyway, yeah, these are the ones that's from the Hunt. So we've got these two here. We then have these couple as well. These are part of the same box. And then the last one we have, if I can reach, we've got this one as well. So we've got them there should we need them, but I'm going to kind of try and concentrate on this fella this evening. Let's have a quick look and see what else we've got. Cider and blackcurrant, that is pretty much what it is, mate, yeah. John says, hello from South Ontario. Brucey says, it only hurts your eyes when you're trying to read the paint labels. Yes, on to the next mini faction box for the Brotherhood of Belial. Nice one. And John Estel just sneaking in there. Always forget to stop priming when it's at 95 degrees in Durham. Yeah, in that case, mate, you should have nothing to worry about. Right, I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat tonight as well, obviously. But we're going to get the brushes out and we're going to make a start. If I can find the brush that I want. There's the bad boy there. And we'll make a start. So, let me know if the music's a little bit too high or anything like that. I've set it up slightly differently, so while I'm talking it should be quiet, and then when I go quiet, it should come in slightly louder, so we'll see how it goes. Tasty Brain Drink says, Malifaux question, if I get a core box, how many more models would I need after that to have a playable army? You can play with the core box, mate, to be fair. You'll probably end up with something like about enough models to have like a 25 Soulstone game. Kind of, if you're playing at like kind of standard level or competitive level, if you like, it tends to be 50 Soulstones, but that might only be like another 2 or 3 models, because in a core box, the master model and the the totem, you don't count those points. So for all in a core box, you might think, oh well, 20 odd points is not very much. Your main model, you don't actually count the points for them. So you're probably talking about 2 or 3 models more, really. But yeah. Max is saying, hey there, from which game is that beautiful model? It is from Malifaux, mate. It's from the Explorer Society, from the box called On the Hunt. Right, let's get some paint on this gent. So we're going to start with a little bit of Cadian flesh tone. And I have my new Vortex shaker here. I don't know if it might be a little bit loud on the stream, but I borrowed one from my friend, and I must admit, I was absolutely blown away with just what a difference it made. I always thought they were a bit hyped up and stuff like that, but this is going to get loud, so I apologise. So if you've got headphones on, please get ready. But just push down on it. Honestly, about 10 seconds, and it's almost like different paint. It makes that much of a difference. It really does mix it up. You kind of realise how much you've not been mixing your paints when you start using one of these bad boys. You can get them on like AliExpress and stuff like that pretty cheap, but they do sell them on eBay and Amazon as well. But like they're everything from about £20 up to £100, depending upon for exactly the same one as well. To be fair, just depending upon which site you buy them from. So do shop around if you are looking at them. VJ says yes, Vortex crew in the house. I was so surprised what difference they made, mate. Like I say, my mate Jason said he'd got one, and he said, "Oh, just take it and have a try of it." And to be honest, with me doing all this work, I'd not had a chance to try it. And he rang me on Saturday and says, "Do you mind if I come over and pick it up?" And I thought, you know what it is, I better just give it a little try because I've not had a try yet. I was absolutely kind of obsessed with using it. It was so good. So I kind of went through as many paints as I could before he come and picked it up. And then I thought, bollocks, I'm just going to buy one. So, Ghost Winter says, can you put a Vallejo bottle in that shaker? I tell you what, I haven't got a Vallejo bottle beside me here, but I have got, so let's pop a bit in. I've got I've got some like Lamium medium that I've put in. So yeah, you just press down on it. Whoop, let me just get it in the middle there. Or you can do it with the top as well, like that. I don't know if I turn it around, you might actually be able to see it, but it really does. You can kind of see the difference it makes. Anyway, yeah, it really does give it a good shake. So, Jess says, could barely hear it. Oh, that's good. I could see it kind of bouncing up on the microphone, but I can never tell just how loud it is. So let's get a little bit of paint on the brush. And let's make a start. I've not painted anything for such a long time. Eon910 says, felt the shaker more than heard it. ASMR painting stream. And goes when it says, yes, excellent, thanks for that. You are welcome, mate. So yeah, I just after I tried it, I was really surprised. I mean, I've seen like loads of people doing videos on them and stuff like that, and I was thinking, oh, it's just, you know, it's just another shaker. I've got one of those like nail polish shakers that I bought years ago, and to be honest, it's all right, but you have to kind of shake it for ages, and they're bloody noisy. And to the point where I just kind of got back to, especially when I was painting on stream and stuff like that, I just got back to just shaking them by hand. But I must admit, until I'd started shaking these up, like, I honestly think it's going to make a difference to my painting, purely for the fact that it's really mixing the paints up, and I thought I was mixing them properly, but I don't think I really was. So it'll be interesting just to see the difference it makes. So yeah, fingers crossed that it actually makes it certainly saves my arm, that's for sure. So Beauty says, sold, I'm getting one. Paints go on so much smoother. That's certainly what it's I seem to be experiencing, mate. I just like, especially the ones where they've really separated out. And to be fair, these kind of like these flesh tones, like Cadian flesh tone and things like that, tend to really separate out to a really pink and a really grey colour. It seems to make a big difference. Ghost Witness says, I did buy some bearings recently to try and use as agitators. Not used them yet, but presume it'll help. It will help a little bit, mate. Yeah, just be careful that they are. Let me just get that button. I'm getting used to getting this on camera now. Just make sure that they are fully stainless steel, because I've bought some in the past and they said they were stainless, but they still rusted in the paint. I actually bought hematite beads. You can get them from like hobbycraft type places. Like they use them for like making necklaces and stuff, but they've got a little bit of weight in them, and they obviously don't rust. So yeah, hematite beads is what I've put into mine. VJ says, decant your GW into droppers. Does it really look like I'm going to go to that trouble, mate? Never in the world. I'm not decanting anything. I'm happy with this. Tizzy Brinter says, thanks for the answer. I had my eye on a few core boxes, but figured that a core box wouldn't be enough. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when I do some battle report stuff on this channel, when I do the Malifaux stuff, I'm intending to do kind of like core box challenges, really, core box games, for a couple of reasons. One is it just kind of gives people a bit of an introduction into Malifaux, rather than getting carried away with sort of more models on the table. Secondly, it's a bit quicker as well, so the games will be a little bit quicker. And it's just less for me to kind of track while I'm still getting my head around stuff. When I do some battle report stuff, I really want to just like I want to show that actually sometimes just picking up a core box or picking up a starter set or something like that can be enough. You don't instantly have to go in and spend a fortune expanding armies to have a good game and to have fun with it. Sometimes just to take a 2-player starter set sometimes for a game, if there's any available, is sometimes just enough just to like satisfy the itch sometimes. Like if you really enjoy it, you can obviously spend more and grow your game and stuff, but you don't always have to like go in head over heels. But I think generally online, like in Facebook groups and YouTube battle reports and stuff like that, that there always seems to be this kind of it's almost inferred that you must always like play at the standard size, if you like. And I want to kind of sort of make that a bit of a myth, really. Let me just zoom in a little touch here. There we go. John said, I had a pad of palette paper for nearly 40 years here and just started using it a couple of months ago, and I'm feeling a little sheepish for not doing it sooner. I got my wet palette for Christmas off my wife, and I've been using it ever since, and I'm not sure it's making any difference, but it's nice, it's handy, especially with the GW pots. Just to put a little bit on the wet pad. Right. Just getting around the neck there a little bit. Can always come in and tidy up the furs around the neck. Right, that's a bit of skin tone done. Stu says, I got one of those shakers recently, despite it being a skeptic. Now I can't understand how I did it. Honestly, mate, I'm kind of in the same boat as well. I honestly thought they were massively overrated. I thought people were kind of like bigging them up because they're making a few quid on Amazon or something like that. But I genuinely have been really, really surprised by just how good they are. Let me just give this a bit of a mix. Stu says, no link for the paint shaker. I wouldn't advise you buy it on Amazon, mate. I think you can get it for about 55 quid, I think it is, on Amazon. But if you buy it from like AliExpress, I think they're like 20 quid. You can get them for about 40 on eBay. So if you just put in INTL, like Intel, LAB, Intel Lab, or put in Vortex Shaker or Vortex Mixer into your search, and you'll find one, mate. I'm not gonna. I mean, I could give you a link for the Amazon one, but you'll pay more for it. So you're far better off just doing the search yourself, and you'll get it a bit cheaper. There's no point me making money out of people having to spend more money. So, but yeah, if you don't mind waiting, AliExpress is probably your best bet. If you want it a little bit quicker, and maybe with a little bit more kind of security as well, you can buy it through eBay. So, right. Fast Panda saying he's got glass beads in his paints. Yeah, like I say, I got the hematite beads just because they've got a little bit more weight in them. They're still upstairs in my old hobby room, otherwise I would show you them. But they're like little black beads. Matt says, do you still use beads when you've got a vortex? I do, purely just because they're already in there, mate, but I don't think you need to. I mean, I'm assuming it'll probably help. It'll help to kind of swirl it around a little bit, but they're already in the pot, so I'm not taking them out, for example. But I don't think you'd necessarily need them. Let me just. It's weird now because I've set the camera. Like normally I used to have the camera mounted on the table, but this new desk's a bit thick for the clamp, so I've got it mounted like sort of behind me on a shelf, looking over my shoulder, which gives like a nice angle. But I'm having to retrain myself to keep it on the camera because I just got used to painting a certain way when I had the camera on. So it's like I'm starting from scratch again now with a new position. So I apologise, folks, if it keeps going off the camera tonight. Ghost Winter says, yeah, hematite like the crystal. Them's the ones, mate. Tasty brain drain. Having a chat with Christian there. John Estel says, I got some of those hematite beads really cheap on eBay. I think that's where I got mine from, mate. I think I got them from eBay as well. John says, I use a couple of Tamiya paint stirrers. Have for nearly 30 years. All I need to mix paint. They make excellent sculpting tools. Is it just like a stick, mate? Is it basically just a paint stirrer? I mean, don't get me wrong. You don't need a vortex shaker. But as far as kind of like if you're wanting to treat yourself to something, but in saying that, I'm really surprised just what a difference it's made to the consistency of my paints. You know, I thought I was mixing them correctly until I started using that, and then I've realised that actually I probably wasn't. So let's. So just for reference, folks. So this guy, Lord Cooper, is also from Malifaux, from the Explorer Society. So he's from the same faction. So I'm trying to kind of keep that green, the green that's on his waistcoat there. I'm trying to keep that as a bit of a consistent throughout the faction. Is like kind of like a green is like the spot color, if you like. So there's a reason why I'm kind of giving him green trousers. I didn't want to give him a green kind of cloak, if you like. It's an animal fur. You can see the head around his neck. So I didn't want to make that green, although it would look nice. So I thought I'd give him the green trousers for the spot color, and we'll try and bring in the furs from something else. So it's like a little leather pouch there. We'll just paint that one in green for now, and we'll come back and darken it down. I think we'll give him a bit of armour. I think that'll do for that. We'll get on and paint the furs and stuff now. VG says it was more a recommendation to people in general. You doing it would be a major mission. Yeah, it's one. I mean, to be honest, mate, I have transferred stuff over in the past when I've been making sort of mixes up for the airbrush and stuff. But like for me personally, it's not really worth the effort. I don't mind using the GW paints from the pots as they are. Let me just give that a quick mix. Yeah, rather zen once you get going. I can find more relaxing ways to sit there, but yeah, each to their own. Let me just put a bit of this paint on here, and then a little bit of thinner. Busey says, ship the entire paint collection to VJ. He said it would do it for you and send them back. Bloody hell. I think it would be cheaper just to go out and buy a load of Vallejo paints if that was the case. Dropper bottles are handy if you've got an airbrush. However, my recommendation is you should never ever mix the paint in the cup itself, because you can never tell the consistency, and that's how you get sort of thick bits of paint at the bottom clogging up the needle and stuff like that. So I always mix the paints sort of in like a little pot or something like that. So in that instance, it doesn't really matter if you've got a dropper bottle or not, because I'm gonna mix it in a little container anyway. So, but yeah, I get why people find them easier, but yeah, for me it's not really worth the time and effort personally. Peter says wargamers always go head over heels. It's a must. Yeah, I think you do, but you don't have to. Is my point. Like if you're thinking about getting into a game, or you just fancy giving a game a try, or you like the look of a starter set or something, I think people always think, oh well, how much more do I need to kind of play the game or something like that. where if something like Malifaux, if you're content playing sort of like a core box game with like what do you normally get, about 6-7 models or something like that in a core box, if you're content with playing that, rather than buying more for that particular faction, you might want to buy a different core set. You might want to buy a different core box and give yourself something completely different to paint. And like, unless you're going to be going to like tournaments and events and things like that, if you're just playing with a few friends and you're all kind of in agreement, I think there's just like there's a lot to be said about not getting sucked in and having that sort of feeling the need to buy everything. Like, at the end of the day, it's just about having a bit of fun. And will you have more fun with more models? Maybe, but there's no need to kind of like to dive in from day one. Tasty Brain Drain says he's never heard of Ribena. VG says, for paint stirring, I'd recommend handheld milk frother. Cut the end off. Bloody hell, that's really getting exciting now. Jonathan Dawson, good evening, mate. How are you doing? Welcome to the chat tonight. I must admit, I've got the screen is like a million miles away from me, so I have to kind of keep an eye on it. If there's any sort of new Patreons tonight, or any super chats or anything like that, I'm gonna have to try and keep an eye on it because it's tiny on my screen on my phone because I'm reading the chat. So, I will try and keep an eye on all that kind of stuff too. Stu says, don't use more than one glass bead with a shaker. They destroy them. Or the glass beads, yeah, they probably do shatter, to be fair. Yeah, like I say, the ones that are in these are crystals. But I was really surprised, like I say, when you set the shaker away, you can actually see the liquid inside kind of like creating the vortex and spinning around. I wasn't really expecting that, to be fair. I mean, I know that's how they work, but I thought it would just get sloshed around inside and you wouldn't really notice it. But yeah, quite surprised. Yeah, Peter saying the shakers are about £65 on Amazon, about £45 on eBay. Yeah. And like I say, I think they're about £23 on AliExpress. I've never used AliExpress, to be fair, but I know lots of people do. I'm always a bit wary about kind of shipping from China, and if there's any problems with something and that. I don't mind if something's like kind of like a couple of quid. You know, you can kind of almost just take a chance on it. But I'm always a bit sort of wary about sort of electrical gear or anything like that. If it doesn't come with a right plug, or it's kind of, if it's got a fault on it or anything like that. So yeah, sometimes I don't mind paying the extra for a little bit of peace of mind and a bit of a guarantee. But you pays your money, it takes your choice, as they say. Right. Lee, Tabletop Magpie, how are you doing, fella? Nice to see you in. He says, hobby time's been disrupted slightly, so just swinging by to say hello. I'm adamant I'll make a full session at some point. It's nice to see you, mate. I hope you're keeping well. Take care, buddy. Alright, so we just try and keep that on the screen. So what's everybody's thoughts with the Gaunt Ghosts that were shown tonight? I think they're quite nice. I mean, I'm not sure I really want to use them in a game or anything, but it's like a nice little kind of set of miniatures to paint. I think they're quite nice. I know there's a bit of mixed feelings about it. But isn't there always when it comes to Games Workshop stuff? Pusey says 4E's one on Amazon is €127. Yeah, some of them are like over £100, mate. Like, there's a real mix. Obviously, there's been a bit of a. There's that many channels have been. There's about that many channels being recommending them. I think there's probably been a bit of a run on them, and everybody's put their prices up. Let me just. Did I just see something flash up? The Claw just joined as a Patreon. Thank you very much, buddy. It's just flashed up on my phone there. Actually from Patreon though, rather than from the Streamlabs thing. So I'm not sure if it's up on the screen yet or not. But thank you very much, buddy, and welcome to the gang.
All right.
I've just saw you joined the Discord as well, so we'll no doubt we'll be catching up in there as well. There we go. There he is. So right, let's just painting them little bits up. Right. So we're gonna have like a bit of darker fur, I think. Christian saying he uses M5 stainless nuts. Oh, let me just. In his Vallejo bottles, a marine grade 420 stainless. Yeah, I tell you what, mate. I don't know if I've got one of these bottles. Let's have a quick look. I definitely got one where it's rusted. I think is it the lead belcher? No, it's not in the lead belcher. It's one of my older paints. I'm trying to remember which one it is. I can't see it now. But there's definitely one of my silver paints, I think. Oh, there it is, Rune Fang Steel. Those were meant to be on camera. Those were meant to be stainless steel bearings as well. 420 stainless. So either they weren't, or they still bloody rusted anyway. But yeah, you can see what it does to the paint. So yeah, just be super careful. I mean, I put some in a long time ago. Most of them paints have disappeared now. But yeah, just hugely disappointing. Right, what we're going to use now? Let's have a little bit. We'll have a little bit of dryad bark. Excuse me while I just mix that up a bit. John saying, for years I used old blister packs as pallets and vessels to mix up large amounts of colour, but since so few models come in that type of packaging, I've run out. Yeah, I was using little blister packs as mixing points for my airbrush, mate. Tabletop Magpie says, a couple of mates picked up shakers recently, and after spending 45 minutes shaking contrast paints last week, I think I'm in the market. It's amazing the difference it makes, the contrast paints. Let me just show you. So if I can find one that's separated out a little bit, because some of them really do separate. There's a good one there. That'll give you. So, oops. Of course, it drops it. Right. Now I've tipped it upside down a little bit. Let me just try a different one. I'll tell you what, I'll show you contrast next, but there's Genner's Gold. I've obviously not used that for some time, and you can kind of see how it's separated out. And then let's pop it on there so you can see it. So, oh, there you go. I think it's more like it's stained the top of the bottle. I think the gold's all stuck in the bottom. Probably needs a bit of thinner in it. That's just. There's a bit of a knack to. Oh, it's stuck in there. Kind of see it mixing up in there. There we go. I think that's actually stained the inside of the bottle there where it's separated out. Let's have a little look in there. Actually, do you know what it is? I haven't opened that one yet. That's going to take a little bit of thinner in there, I think. But yeah, we'll just. Don't know if you can hear that on camera. But it really does shake them bad boys up a little bit. Anyway, enough of that. Let's. Wait, what was I just going to do? Dryad bark. That's what we were going to do, wasn't it? Hello, Anna. She stumbled in halfway through a conversation about Andy using beads. I tell you what, Anna, you always pick the opportune times to come in. Welcome anyway. How are you? I hope you're very well, my friend. Jessica decided to invest a bit of hardware for gaming. Got a hotwire foam cutter online yesterday. Table in freehand from someone who made them for years. 35 quid from eBay. Yeah, I tell you what, mate, at that price it is worth a punt. James Arm, good evening, mate. He's been on the fence on the mixers, but I just ordered one. Honestly, mate, like I say, I've been really, really impressed. I wouldn't I wouldn't kind of speak so highly and recommend them if I honestly didn't, if I haven't used it myself. But yeah, well worth the money. Well, it's well worth the money depending on how much you've spent, to be fair. So anyway, we'll go in with a dryad bark. Pick out some of the darker fur here around the tops. So yeah, I knew there was some more around there as well. Johnson, he originally bought the Tamiya paint stirrers because they had tiny spoon for mixing custom colours and a blade end good for breaking up chunks of pigment. Yeah, I mean, I know everybody says GW paints are more expensive and stuff, and you get more in others. But I think in balance, GW paints are a lot thicker as well. So I think if you thin them down to the same consistency as some of their competitors, you probably find you get more paint in the pot. But yeah, I do find that if you leave them for too long, you do tend to find some of the kind of pigment settles to the bottom and stuff, and you normally have to drop a bit of thinners in there to break it up a bit. Right, well, just paint these straps around the wrist there as well. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this tonight. I'm generally just going to kind of base coat and wash a bit like I did with the Lord Cooper model, and then once it's dry, kind of highlight back up from that. Your FedEx package is due for delivery. Oh, by the 12th. I was wondering what that was. I thought it was coming tomorrow. I was going to say that was bloody quick. It only got shipped out yesterday. All right. Probably painting off camera, man. Right, I do need to get used to this new angle. Right. So I'm not too worried if I've missed any little bits on these as well. It'll all get blended in with the wash and stuff, and we'll catch it when we highlight up from there. Right. I think what we'll do. Looks like he's got kind of boots up the back there. I think in fact, I tell you what we're going to do. We're just going to use that same brown. It's going to get washed over anyway and darkened down, so we'll use that same brown. Keep the colour palette quite neutral. So we'll look down the chat here. Peter says, cheaper buying Vallejo. Do you know how many colours they have? Do you know how many they do, mate? But by the time I send something to Australia and then send it back again, I tell you what, it'll not be far off. Andy's saying it's okay mixing in the cup, doing tanks, etc. Don't need to be that accurate. The problem is, mate, when you mix in the cup, if you put the paint in first and then you put thinners in and try and mix it with a brush, you end up with some like thick bits of like pigment, thick bits of paint at the bottom of the cup, and that's what kind of dries on the needle, and you get the dry tip and stuff like that. But it's not about being accurate with the colours. It's just about the cleanliness of it. It just gets clogged up. You can't control the consistency of the paint, and I just find it's like, you might, maybe with experience you get better and stuff like that, but I just find it's way easier. And if you're doing big, like sort of like big pieces, I find it easier to mix up like a sort of like get yourself one like these dropper bottles and actually mix yourself up like a thin down paint and feed it into your airbrush from there, like at the right consistency. I just find it's better that way. Warwick says, what size are the minis from Malifaux? They're like 28 to 30 millimeter, kind of. In fact, I'll tell you what. Let me very quickly dash over there, and I'll get a marine to compare to. So here's a couple of models just to compare the sizes for you. So there's a Primaris Marine, just to compare size. So you can see there, gives you an idea. And then there's a Wild West Exodus model as well to kind of compare size. So they're probably kind of, I wouldn't say the heroic scale, 32mm maybe, 32mm probably. So they're nice to paint though. Like I say, that if you think of a Primaris the size of that and do them roughly sort of feet at the same level, they're roughly the same height. It's probably a little bit taller to be fair. But yeah, they're nice models, man. Nice models. Bliss says you recently started transferring old GW paints from the 90s into droppers. A syringe is key for that. I did do a few a while ago, and I just used like little funnels. You could get like little funnels and then just tip the pot upside down and kind of leave it. Right, let's get a little bit of metallics onto those shin guards and stuff. And I think we'll use a bit of Iron Hand steel. John says to prepare paint for miniatures, I scoop out from deep into the bottles without shaking it and add water until I get the consistency I want. Do you not just end up like sort of taking out all the pigment that way, mate? Is it not better to thin down the paint in the actual pot? Fast Panda says I need to patronize you. Am I well behind on the chat now? I am a little bit behind. Let me before I crack on, let me catch up a little bit here. I'll tell you what we'll do before I do that metallics. Let's pop back over to here. I can have a drink and we'll catch up on the chat. Excuse me. Jonathan Dawson says I'm good for that. Painting my Mythos Priory set with you. Nice one. I do like a bit of Mythos. Lord Maiden says they look nice, but I've never read the stories. I haven't made either, to be fair. Anna saying I think the Gaunt's Ghost might come in for Stargrave. I think there'll be a few people using them for other stuff as well. Blizzard saying the hex pots do last forever. Yeah, I've still got some upstairs, mate, to be fair. John says can't decide what to paint. Just pick something, mate. That's all you need to do. Jess is saying Red Rose, I thought that too. Vijay says never read the books, never been into the Imperial Guard. I must admit, me either, really, to be fair, but I have heard that the Gaunt's Ghosts stories are some of the best if you're into that kind of lore and background. I've not read them, to be fair. Krabby says I'm busy making what seems like an infinite amount of root tiles for a cathedral project. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes, mate. You've been kind of like doing that cathedral stuff for a little while now, so it must be coming on there. ER910 says Gaunt's Ghost looks good. Was thinking about adding them to Blackstone Fortress. Nice choice. John saying some of the Black Library stuff is really good. The first 4 Horus Heresies. I think I've read the first 2 or 3. I find them quite heavy going, really, to be fair. There's just like the Black Library way of writing stuff is sometimes a bit like long-winded, and you've really got to, I think you've really got to be into the lore in the background. Christian saying, yeah, mistake made with regular stainless steel, did the same thing. My army painter, the key is the marine grade. Yeah, I think, I was thinking back to my old days about 420 steel and stuff like that. Is it 420? It is, isn't it? Vijay saying if you put the pot on the shaker at a 45-degree angle and push down, it activates easier. Does it really? I've not really. I find it works better flat on, mate. Maybe it's just the shape of the bottles. I'll do some playing with it. It only came today, to be fair. Let me skip ahead a little bit. Loads of chat about thinning paints down. Fast Panda says Marines are standard units of measure now. Cool. Use for them. Templar Knight, good evening, mate. This is the 32 to 35. Yeah, I would say about 32. I'm not sure. I've got some Mythos stuff there I was just looking at. Yeah, they might be 35, to be fair then. John says Malifaux has more correct proportions compared to GW. Yeah, I think there is that. They look a bit more slender, which I think makes them look smaller, and they're not. Yoakum, nice to see you, mate. You see, it's only 40 minutes late and I only see 26 likes. I can't even see from here, mate. I can't see how many likes we've got. John said I was meant to be playing a first garden game of Armada tomorrow, but ironically looking like it's going to be too wet. I think it's an ark you might need, mate, not a ship. And Phil saying Gaunt's books are fantastic. I have heard that actually that they're some of the best ones. I've not read them personally, but yeah, I have heard good things. Right, let's get a little bit of this metallic iron hand steel. Don't need much of it. Matt M says, let's fix those likes. Yeah, I say this before, but yeah, if you do like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. It does help. That it gives YouTube a bit of a nudge to push it out in front of a few other people. So yeah, it is appreciated. It does help. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. It doesn't really matter to me. YouTube still likes the fact that you're interacting with it. So if you really don't like a video, the best thing you can do is do nothing. Because if you comment and if you give it a thumbs down, YouTube loves that, regardless of whether you're disliking it or sort of feeding negativity. It's still classed as interaction. So yeah, if you really don't like something, best thing you can do is do nothing. Which feels kind of counterproductive, but yeah, you're just feeding the machine otherwise. Oh, it'd help if I was on camera, wouldn't it? Paul says the Gaunt's Ghost books are like Sharp in space, definitely worth a read. I think the Eisenhorn books always get a good write-up as well. People speak really highly of the Eisenhorn books, and I think that's what the subject of the either Netflix or Amazon series, whatever channel it's going to be on. I forget now. I've got Amazon in my head, but I could be completely wrong. But yeah, I think the Eisenhorn ones, like I say, are always spoken about really highly. Moosington, good morning, mate, from the future. How are you doing, Moose? Nice to see you, lad. Marcus says the only GW novels I've read is the Clappers Kane one, which is a 40k comedy, and the Vampire Genevieve one. I've read the Warcry book, the Warcry omnibus thing, and I've read the Catacombs book, and I've read the Beastgrave novel, or I've certainly listened to the audio book, and I'm currently reading the Cursed City one. So I've read the ones where I've kind of been more interested in the games and stuff. I know Krabby's loaned me some Space Wolves ones that I've not got round to reading yet, and I will do at some point. But yeah, there's certainly plenty to choose from. Warwick saying Ravener is also good. I don't think I know Ravener, mate. Fast Pandas chatting on there. Moose is saying, this is Malifaux, I'm assuming. You're going to get back to playing it, Andy? Yes, I am getting back to playing it, mate. You might not be able to hear it, but the other side of this wall, my 3D printer's printing away some more terrain for Malifaux. And I've been printing off some more bases for the models I haven't painted yet. So yeah, I fully intend to get some gameplay on the channel. And I was saying before, I mean, I might expand the forces and stuff into bigger games later down the line if people are interested. But initially, I want to just do some kind of core box games, really, just to almost as beginner, just sort of starter games to wet people's whistle a little bit, if you like. Nice kind of fast-paced ones. Paul says Eisenhorn, very good stories, but they're more like mystery stories with a bit of action thrown in. Gaunt's Ghosts are pure action. Yeah, I think that's probably why the Eisenhorn ones have probably gone to make a TV series. It's probably a more compelling story for visual, if you like, rather than just being constant sort of action and war all the time. Right, have I missed any bits here? I don't think so. So that's that. Got to do his eye patch. Got to do his belt. Phil says, lent a couple to my dad and really liked them. He's about as far from 40k as you can get. To be honest, if you know nothing at all about 40k, I do wonder if the stories are actually like. Do you think about them differently? Do you 2 seconds? Do you actually enjoy them maybe more even? Excuse me while I shake this. Do you enjoy them even more, just purely by the fact that you're not being kind of clouded by sort of knowing more about sort of all the other stuff? Lord Main said, I know I want to see Andy dance with soup on his head as much as everyone else, but he still deserves more likes than we had before the stream. Dancing with soup. I'm assuming that's some quote made from something, is it? It doesn't mean anything to me instantly. Moose says, Andy calls me Future Boy as a nod to that scene with Doc and Marty, because Australia, we are ahead of you in time. That's right, mate. Yes, Future Boy. Because in Australia, it's already tomorrow. God, imagine that. It's already tomorrow. I was trying to explain this to my little boy at the weekend. He couldn't get his head around the fact that that people in Australia were kind of like already like sort of having their next day. Right, let's get a bit more leather on the belts here. Touch them ones in. Oh, it's just let me clean that off. I'm just making it worse. Good job. We're gonna get a wash over that soon. Always tie it up afterwards. Right, let's get on these little straps on the back. Get it on camera, Burtis. Yeah, if anybody missed the start, like I say, I've got a kind of like a new setup for tonight. This is the first time I've painted with it, so I'm having to retrain myself to paint in the right places. So I do apologise if I keep drifting off camera. Paint the stock on the gun. Michael Cowan says, evening, Miss Much. We're just having a bit of a natter, mate. Good evening to you, sir. We're just having a bit of a chat while I paint up some Malifaux this evening. I didn't know what I was going to paint, to be fair, because I didn't know how much time I'd have to kind of like to prep some bits and pieces. So I picked up pretty much some stuff that was already primed and ready to go, which is why we're painting these ones. So we'll do something with these eye patch there. I think I'll do the eye patch the green, the same green that we used for his trousers. Actually, a bit of a smaller brush there. Let me grab that one. Lord Maiden says, it's a song I put up in the Discord channel. Soupy George, you've got soup on your head. Never heard of it, mate. But I am intrigued to see it later. Right, let's get that on camera and then... Right. Just gently go... I appreciate it might look like I'm just slapping this on here, but it's all going to get washed and it's going to get tidied up and stuff afterwards, so I'm not being sort of too careful at the minute. And then we'll just tie you around the nose there a little bit and around the neck. Right, let that dry a bit and then we'll get a wash over it. John says, freaks me out every time. Jamie says, Claffus Kane is the everyday person just trying to survive in the 41st millennium. To be honest, I mean, I've not, like I've said before, I've not read a lot of the novels and stuff like that. But I do I do like the idea that there's people going about their everyday business. It's one of the things I like about Infinity background and about kind of Malifaux and the background and Wild West Exodus. Not everybody's like a hero. Not everybody's like a big war hero. Some people are just kind of like trying to get by every day. Peter says, so in Australia it's already another day at work. Imagine having to deal with that and poisonous fauna. And just spiders climbing out of toilets. Right, let that dry off a little bit. I think that's not looking too bad. So we come in with the magic Agrax. Lord Maiden said it's by 7 Seconds of Love, a ska band with weird songs. Definitely sounds like it's got weird songs, mate. Tasty Brain Drain says, I'm back. Hopefully I haven't missed much. You've probably just missed me keep drifting off the camera, mate, to be fair. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to move that a little bit because I seem to keep wanting to set a little bit further across. Right, so we're just going to slap on some Agrax. Make sure it doesn't pool where we don't want it to pool. Keep moving it about. And then we'll come back once it's dry. We'll come back and highlight it up. And that's generally how I kind of just do the basics, if you like. It's exactly how I did the Lord Maiden one. And I was happy, not Lord Maiden, sorry, isn't it? The Lord Cooper one. There you go, mate. Getting a miniature named after you there. So I'm trying to avoid the skin tones a little bit. I don't mind kind of coming around the base there where you'd have some shadow, but I'm trying not to cover the skin, and I'm trying to leave the skulls as well because I actually quite like them the way they are. So John's saying that doesn't sell miniatures. The thrilling story of Laundry Matter from the Grim Darkness. Yeah, I get it doesn't kind of sell miniatures. Nobody wants kind of like just your basic sort of folks, but I like the fact that in the stories, like in the background, you generally kind of like sort of like the world building is a bit more rich. Oops, just wash that off. He's got a scar down his chest now. Yeah, forever on his mind. Yeah. So yeah, it's actually quite nice to sit down and paint. Like I see, like last week we did. I was building the uncertain scenery terrain stuff, and I've done a little bit more of that as well, to be fair. But I've not really picked up a brush properly in quite some weeks. So obviously doing all the work in here, it's got me a little bit sidetracked. I feel like I'm kind of like I'm behind on my social media stuff. I've not really been keeping an eye on sort of the latest comings and goings of what's been happening. I've been a bit quiet in the Patreon and stuff, the Discord chat, purely just because I've not really stopped. I'm getting up at like sort of 6:30 in the morning, showered and changed and straight into here to get cracking on, because the plan was always to get it done before I can get people to come over and play games, before like the rules relax, and I can get people to come and play here. So I didn't want to be doing that when I could be playing games. So I've been really kind of like burning the midnight oil to get this ready. But yeah, I think by the end of this week we should be sorted. I've got all my 3D printing stuff set up just other side of this wall here behind me. I've got my Neptune 2 printing off some building terrain there. My Mars 2 Pro was printing off some Malifaux resin bases. So yeah, I'm starting to kind of get back into the hobby stuff really. I got a load of what they called really useful boxes to put like all my miniatures and stuff in, like the ones that I painted and the ones that's ready to be painted. So I've got a little bit more organised. So the table that I stream from is completely covered in miniatures at the minute, in different states of painted and non-painted, and they all need to go into boxes and stuff tomorrow, get sorted out. So yeah, we're getting there. We'll get there. Right, just get a bit more wash over this. Yeah, I'm just checking the screen there to see if it looked like my chat had frozen there. Just you lot are quiet, I think. Either that or the stream's gone off. Right. Alright, so that's not looking too bad. Just tidy up some of that at the back. Just quiet. Everyone's just quiet. That's all right. Don't worry about it. If you're all hobbying as well, we just start. If I'm quiet and you're all quiet, it starts to get like a. Oh, we're all hanging out. No, that's cool, folks. These hobby hangouts are like they've never been about the views, about getting loads of views or anything like that. They're always just about kind of trying to give people, especially with lockdowns and stuff, giving people a reason to come together, all hang out, like sort of motivate you to do a little bit of painting. Like it doesn't matter what it is, like even if you're just painting something just to kind of have a bit of a refresher, or to break up the project that you're doing or something like that. It's just nice to get together and kind of hang out, really. So, right, let's just move that light a little bit. There we go. You can probably see that a bit better. Let me zoom in a touch. So we'll let that dry. I'm just going to tidy up a little bit around them furs there. Brush off. Get that away a bit. So that's it. I'm not too worried about getting some on the chest there. That'll all get sorted anyway. Right, so we'll let that one dry for a bit with the wash, and I'll have a cheeky drink and come back and see you folks. So let's have a little look here, see what's happening. Christian sharing the link there for the BlackJack Legacy merch. Thank you very much, Christian. Just, we're all hobbying along with you. Yeah, quite, because he's stuffing his face. Everyone, time for a break. Yeah, I'm having a little break now, so I'm going to sit and have a chat with you lot. So, Peter says, bad news is I can't find my Lady Justice set. Good news is when searching I found some Black Scorpion cowboys and western figures. There's nothing like a silver lining, mate, is there? John saying, oh Jesus, as soon as I clean my brush I see a spot I missed. That's always the case, mate. Always the case. So yes, I've kind of brought down a lot of my gaming stuff and things that's been tucked away, things I haven't played in a while. I am looking forward to painting up, so you might not be able to read it here, but this box, kind of this one here, is The Other Side by Weird Games, and it is the King's Empire Allegiance box. So I'm looking forward to painting that up at some point. My Operation Karlstrom stuff here, which is all painted up, all done. Is there anything else? Star Wars stuff here we've got as well. Dreadball Core Space. We've got a bit of what's that one? Dystopian Wars. But I'll tell you what we have got as well. So a couple of new bits and pieces. Let me move this one out first. So you might have saw this last year. I was painting up Bot Wars from Traders Galaxy, and I've never done a review of it or anything, because I literally haven't had a chance to play a game to actually review it. So we'll be getting that on the channel at some point. All the miniatures are painted up for that one. And then just last week, this just arrived, which is a Moonstone 2-player starter set by, I forget who makes the game now. I don't think it's got their name on it actually. I forget who makes it, but yeah. So I haven't even opened this yet. I've opened it to have a look and see what was inside, but I haven't done anything with it. So yeah, at some point we'll get that one sorted as well. So let me just put these back in here. So yeah, there's plenty going on, folks. I just need to get all this stuff done so I can actually crack on and do it. Goblin King Games, that's who does it, mate. Thank you very much. Busey says, are they Kallax shells as well? They are Kallax shells, mate. These ones are the 4x4 Kallax shells, and I've got 2 of them. So one of them I've got full of games, and the other one I've got full of miniatures and terrain. So the idea is, so where I'm sitting at the moment is the other end of the garage. So up that end, behind the camera up there, is where the table and stuff is, where I do the kind of, where I'll be doing the gameplay from, and where I film the Monday streams from. It'd be quite nice to film some of the Monday streams from here as well, to be fair. It's quite a nice little cozy area. So yeah. Tony saying, yeah, taking a much needed breather break after doing glow effects on eyes. Oh my god. Moose is saying, Anthony, you'll be pleased that you're giving Beast Wars, but what a crack. I've been chatting to him, mate, on and off for the last year, really, and he keeps just saying, how's that lockdown in the UK? Have you had a chance to play yet? And I just said, I think he was just concerned that maybe I didn't like the game, and that was why I've not really done anything with it. I painted the miniatures up as soon as I got it, but I've read through the rules, and I've kind of pushed some miniatures around on my own, but I've literally not had a chance to play the game because I just can't play with anybody. So yeah, as soon as I can get playing games and stuff again, we'll get that onto the channel as well. Jamie's saying, suffering from severe hobby burnout, got all kinds of plans for stuff to do while at work, but when I get home I do nothing, try to motivate with videos and movies, no help. 30-year gamer, never this bad. Just have a break, mate, honestly, just have a break. Don't force it, just chill. I've really missed painting and hobbying and playing games while I've been doing all this work. I've enjoyed doing the work, but it's really highlighted how much I've missed making videos. It's highlighted how much I've missed painting models. Sometimes you need to have a break from it to remember why you enjoy it. So don't kind of force yourself, kind of thing. Scott saying, is all your God tier stuff painted? No, no, not yet, mate. Yeah, I mean, let me just move out of the way. So, if I slide across here a little bit, I've got the 2 starter boxes, and then there's 4, what they called, like 4 war bands here, and then there's another 8 up there as well. So no, it's not all painted, mate. I don't even think much of it's painted, if I'm honest. Again, it came at a time when I managed to play a few games with my wife, and I managed to play a few games with my sons when lockdown eased a little bit and the kids could come and visit. But when I couldn't play games, I lost the motivation to paint, to play, kind of thing, if you like. So yeah, I'll have to get on and paint those stuff up as well. Marcus is saying, is that some kind of genie guy on the Moonstone game? I don't know what it is, mate. I don't know a lot about it, if I'm perfectly honest. They sent me an email and said, we've got a Kickstarter coming up later this year. We'd really like to send you something to have a look at it and just see what you think. So, and I asked in our Patreon chat what people thought about the game, because I didn't really know a lot about it. And there was a few people that said really good things about it. So I thought, yeah, we'll give it a go then if it's something that people enjoy. So I know very, very little about the game. All I know is you use D4 dice, but the only thing you do that for is to basically roll them on the table, and where they land is where the moonstones are. And then basically you play the game with cards, not a deck of cards like Malifaux does, but you use cards rather than dice, which is quite interesting. And it's got this kind of like bluffing mechanic, so you can almost like bluff against your opponent with the cards. So yeah, it seems really interesting. It seems like it does like a few things a bit different and a bit more interesting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving that one a shot. Let's have a look. Blizzard says, do the robots in Bot War turn into other things like cars and jets? You know what, mate? I'm not 100% certain, if I'm honest. I think they can combine to do stuff, but I'm not 100% certain. Lord Maiden saying have a Kit Kat too. John says I made some mean shelves with scraps of 2x10 and 2x12 left over from a job. You can stack your anvil collection on them. Peter says I'll bring the anvils over. Christian says I'll be happy to play Bot Wars with you. Let's do that, mate. When you come up, mate, let's get Bot Wars on the table. Tasty Brain Train says I'm a huge G1 Transformers fan, so looking forward to any Bot Wars videos. Yeah, I mean I think it's a well-known fact that Bot War originally was planned to be a bit of a Transformers game, but there was some issues around licensing and stuff, so it ended up just becoming its own thing. So it's influenced by Transformers, but it's not Transformers. Moose is saying some do have vehicle alternatives. Yeah. Fast Panda says I've forgotten how much dry brush yellow over orange looks. Don't forget how good dry brush orange over red looks as well. Tony saying Moonstone minis are absolutely beautiful. I know nothing about the game though. I know a little bit about the game, mate. Just from watching some kind of battle report type stuff, like not battle reports, but the people who make the game, Goblin King Games, have kind of done like a bit of an intro video type thing, just explaining it. So I kind of when they contacted me, I watched that to find out a little bit more about it. So yeah, I know the basics. Blizzards are saying cool. If I can find a US distributor, I'll give it a try. And Old Man saying, yeah, there's fairies, gnomes, goblins, humans and giants, a gnome airship and a goblin air balloon. Steve Evans, good evening, mate. How are you doing? And Marcus is saying, I'm a sucker for anything gin related. Let's have a little look at the box again and see if it says anything. Because like I say, I don't know a huge amount about it. It definitely looks. Do you know what it is? I think it's a moonstone with like a kind of like a plant thing wrapped around it, and it's like a bit of a human. I tell you what, let's not balance the can on the edge of the table. That wouldn't be a good move. Let me just get this under the camera and I'll show you it. So let me zoom out a little bit. In fact, I tell you what, if I move that light up so it's not shining on there, and we'll zoom out a little bit, and then we'll move that back down so it lights up. Yeah, you can see there's like a moonstone here. It looks like some kind of like plant wrapped around it, and I think he's kind of standing behind it. So it does look at first glance like it's some kind of genie, but it's not. So let's get that one back down there. But yeah, actually while I've got on there, so you can see the back of the box. These are the kind of things. Let me zoom in a little bit. You can see some of the things that's in there. So it's got that kind of very sort of whimsical fantasy, a little bit like almost like labyrinth style type thing, if you like. It's got that feel about it anyway. So let's get back on the main screen. I'll pop these boxes back on the shelves. Steve saying very well, Andy. Hope you are too. I'm not too shabby, mate. Not too shabby. And Moose is saying they got the list of the Bot War distributors on the website. Yeah, I think to be fair to Anthony, he's struggled a little bit with distributors through the whole COVID thing. It's a relatively kind of new company, if you like, and obviously he's trying his best to get it out there. But as you can imagine, when people are not playing games and they're not getting a chance to demo games, it's probably quite always finding it quite hard to get people to take a bit of a chance on a new game. So he does have distributors, but I don't think there's like a massive list of them. You can always buy direct as well. Alright, still a little bit wet. So if it's still wet, I'll keep on with my cider. Lord Maiden says, yeah, that's Baron von Fancy Pants, I think, on the front. It's Pratchett-esque. That's what I should have said. It does look very Discworld. Peter says, I'm out. Early shift again tomorrow. Good night, all. Good night, mate. Take care. Excuse me. So, yeah. Now I have to try and remember what colours I used for the bases. can't for the life of me remember. But I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just, let me zoom in a little bit. Right, I think I knocked the camera a little bit before, so let's move it back across. There we go. Let's move that light back on as well. There we go. Cooking on gas now. Right, so I think what I'll do is then, I think we'll use that dryad bark. I don't know which one it was. Is it that one? It's probably a bit light. Let's mix it up a bit. That's it. Moose is saying, pretty sure he does free worldwide shipping for $160 US direct from Traders Galaxy. Yeah, it's I don't know, unless it's Australian dollars, it's a hell of a lot of money, mate, to spend. That's the problem. Especially when you're just taking a chance on something, like, and I mean that in the nicest possible way, but what I mean is, like, it's a brand new game, so it's a lot to spend in one chunk. It's the kind of thing you want to dip your toe in with, isn't it? Mark says, okay, from a distance it looked like a guy wearing a turban with Arabian baggy pants. It completely did, mate. Even when I pulled the box back out again, I looked at it and I thought, oh no, it is a genie. So John says, was the Integral Trees the Terry Pratchett book I read a very long time ago? I think it was part of the Ringwood series. I've not read any Terry Pratchett stuff, if I'm perfectly honest, mate. I'm sure I'm going to get a bit of grief for that, but yeah, I've never read any Discworld stuff. I'm kind of fully aware of it, but yeah, I've not read any of it. I never used to read an awful lot, to be honest. I was more into kind of playing video games and stuff like that. Sorry if I keep moving that off camera there as well. Moosesin doesn't take long to add up though. I know, unfortunately that's the problem, mate, isn't it? Like, I've not played the game yet, like, in any kind of sort of anger. So this is not a review of it. I'm not kind of passing judgment on the game or anything like that, because I haven't played it yet. But I find, like, sort of spending like that kind of money in one go on a game you've probably not played yet is just way too much to spend just to get free shipping. That's my personal opinion. It's the kind of game that you want to have a demo of it. You want to try it out. You always want to have a go with one of your mates or something like that. Like, if they've got it, you want to have a little trial of it, because there's so many, like, good games out there. Sort of dropping $160 on a bit of a whim is, for me anyway, it's too much money. It might not be for others, but it is for me. Tasty Brain Trace says, don't feel bad, I've never read any either. That's it, mate. We're non-Pratchett brothers. John says, I'm almost certain I have way back in the 80s. Fast Panda says, never used to read. That's why you're a Rams fan, I guess. Why? Because I used to watch American football instead. Nothing wrong with the Rams, mate. I know you're a Raiders fan, I think, if I remember right. So you've not exactly had a lot to shout about recently, have you? Apart from moving to Vegas, that was probably a good move. But yeah, nothing wrong with the Rams, mate. Alright, let's get them bits on there. We'll get a bit of green. Right, now I think if I remember right, I think I used the Contrast Creed camo, I think, on the grass before, and then washed it over. James says, my socialising ended early. People have no stamina post-lockdown. It's because, well, I don't know what the weather's like where you are, mate, but it's constantly pissing it down here. That doesn't help. Good evening, by the way. So we'll come in and get some green into there. Marcus says, due to shipping and annoying stuff, I have not been able to get some Burrows and Badges boxes sometimes. Living in the States is annoying when most of these game sellers are based overseas. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's a pain in the backside, mate, but things should hopefully get a little bit better in the future. There's a few different things that kind of working against us at the minute when it comes to kind of shipping things around the world. Not least of all sort of Brexit and stuff and COVID, but hopefully all those things do eventually get sorted out and we can get over those initial hurdles and problems. Moose is saying true, but some people drop bulk cash on random stuff all the time. Yeah, I'm sure they do, mate. Just for me personally, it's too much. I think it's a big chunk. Unless the shipping is particularly expensive, then maybe, or maybe if you're buying with like a couple of people and stuff, like sort of clubbing together and buying a few bits and pieces, it might work out better that way. Let me just put that over here. Just a couple of bits I've missed there. We'll let that one dry out and we'll wash that one over later. Right, so what I'm going to do is, is this dry yet? I think it's still a little bit wet there. So I want to run a dry brush over the top of this, so it has to be properly dry before I do that. So we'll not do that yet. Well, I probably went out of focus there, didn't it? Sorry about that, folks. James says it was dry in the chimney house, but they had early starts apparently. But my kids will probably be earlier. I tell you what, mate, it is awful here at the minute. We had hailstones this afternoon. The weather is garbage at the moment, and when I look at the forecast, there's no signs of it getting any better anytime soon. So enjoy the nice weather while you have it down south, my friend. Fast Panda saying Vegas, baby. John Bingham says, evening all, just painting some Stargrave and Ossiarch Bone Reapers. It's a nice mix of stuff, mate. John Estel says, James is in the Costa del Dorset. It's always sunny. He doesn't know he's born, does he? That's what it's like. Doesn't know he's born. Yeah, like 5 or 6 US distributors for Bot Wars, yeah. John saying, the stuff I grew up reading, like Edgar Rice Burroughs and Jules Verne and others, were fuel for our D&D games, but my favourite was Robert E. Howard. I'm trying to think what I kind of grew up reading. I read fighting fantasy stuff, like sort of Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. I read a lot of choose your own adventure books. I'm trying to think what else I read really when I was younger. I don't think I read sort of huge amounts of novels. As I've got older and stuff, I tend to intentionally not read a lot of like hobby stories, if you like. So I read things like let's have a think, like Stephen King stories. I'll read excuse me. I'll read what's it called, like Jack Reacher stuff. Just like sort of like novels, basically, kind of like to make a point of having a break, because I spend all day like sort of doing hobby stuff generally. I enjoy doing hobby for my hobby, so when I'm sitting reading, I generally kind of like have a little break and try to read something a bit different, really. Paulsey and I watched the football last night, and there was snow on the pitch, like actual piles of snow at the sides where they had to clear it. Tell you what, mate, was that at City last night? Was it? I think it was, wasn't it? John Cena, I read a lot of comics too. Marcus is saying, oh man, I could not choose who I like more, Edgar Rice Burroughs, Jules Verne, or Robert E. Howard. Good stuff. Good mix of stuff anyway. First Panda says, a great painting session, painting session here. Now I'm a Patreon, I'll be bothering the Discord. Cheers guys, later. Thank you very much for joining me, I really do appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you in the Discord, mate, later. John says, I love the Jack Reacher books. Tom Cruise was not the right guy. I read somewhere that The Rock was actually given the role of Jack Reacher, and somehow it was taken off him by Tom Cruise, or to give to Tom Cruise. But I think The Rock was actually cast in the role originally. And in my head, and like from reading the stories, I can see that. I can see he would have been a more imposing character. Like the stories, the Jack Reacher stories are fantastic. He's definitely kind of like a larger than life kind of sort of drifter. Yeah, but I would never have pictured Tom Cruise as that character. Marcus says Tarzan versus Conan versus Captain Nemo. I think the Nemo stuff for me would probably win. Like I'm a big fan of League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. It's not the best film in the world, but I like that kind of steampunk kind of sort of feel to it. Vijay says it's raining here too, but it's coming into winter. Aren't you guys supposed to be going to summer? That makes no difference. We're in the north of England, mate. Summer is just a slightly warmer winter. Every now and again we get a bout of nice weather and you have to kind of make the most of it. But yeah, it's awful at the minute. I think it's probably about 7 degrees, something like that, 6-7 degrees outside Celsius. John said he would have been awesome in that role. Yeah, I think it was maybe before he was the big star that he is now. But yeah, I think that's definitely kind of in my head. He's more like that kind of character. John said, I read so much of everything growing up, tons of fiction, but as I got older, I read more and more non-fiction. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I just didn't really read a lot, really. I wonder why. Like nothing. Don't have any kind of like reading issues or anything like that. There's no reason why I didn't read. I just didn't for some reason. Right, let's get a little bit of dry brushing on the go. So I've got a bit of Zanri dust here, and we'll just take that off the dry brush, and we're just gonna. Oh, it should be helpful if I put it on the camera, wouldn't it? Let me just. And we're just gonna just lightly just pick some of those bits out, just to lighten it up a little bit, and then we'll lighten it further after this. A little bit more on there. Christian's saying second winter first. You're not wrong, mate. Our spring is definitely kind of particularly cold. Sometimes we get a bit of nice weather, but yeah, generally it's, especially the further north you go. I mean, Scotland, for example, kind of like, it's like whenever you see the weather reports, it's always just wind and rain in Scotland, unfortunately for those guys and girls. Right, lighten that one up a little bit, and then we'll go with a little bit of, we'll have a little bit of Morgas bone on there, I think. Just get that on the shaker. John Estel says there's a Jack Reacher TV show in production for Amazon Prime. Is there really? I didn't know that, mate. It's the kind of thing that would make a good TV show, actually. Because let me just, there's a bit more of a shake that actually. I quite enjoyed the what was it? Oh, I'm trying to remember what show it was now. The Tom Clancy one. Not had the dude in at the American Office. I forget what he's called. Emily Blunt's husband. I forget what it was called now. Jack Ryan. That was it. The Jack Ryan TV show. I quite enjoyed that, actually. Yeah, Paul saying Jack Ryan. Yeah. Let's have a little look. Christian saying he was walking home from work in hailstones and thunderstorms. Yeah, it was hailstones here as well, mate. When I picked my little boy up from nursery, he said it had been hailstone, and I said, no, it hasn't been, but I'd been in here all day. So I thought it was just raining. I thought it was just kind of heavy rain. But then it started again tonight. It was absolutely thumping it down. But my little boy felt kind of redeemed, and he went, see, I told you it was. He must have thought I thought he was lying. I just hadn't seen it myself. So we're just picking up some of the edges with just gradually a little bit lighter stuff. That's the Morghast bone. I'll put that back. And then I think we'll have what should we have? I think we'll have a little bit of pallid witch flesh just to lighten it a bit further. Matt says he's not really a reader as well. Always say I prefer more active hobbies, so I'm not admitting I'm not that well read. To be honest, I listen to a lot of audio books because when I used to drive like a lot, I used to, obviously my office was in Manchester, so it's like a 3.5-4 hour drive to Manchester when the kind of traffic's bad in the morning. So I used to listen to a lot of audio books and podcasts and stuff. So I've kind of like I've gone through quite a few books over time, but yeah, I tend to not be reading them. I tend to kind of listen to them. So let's get that back on camera again as well. Marcus is saying, while 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the Victorian era, which is steampunk time, the Nautilus was nuclear power. Most people do not know that. Yeah, I know it's kind of nuclear power, but it's got that sort of steampunk aesthetic to it, if you like. Do you get nuclear punk? Is that a thing? Got no idea. So just gradually, like, just as I said before, I'm not going to spend kind of too much time on this. It's more just to kind of get it a nice finish, really. So I'll just pick up very lightly on the tips of that brown there as well. A little bit around the fur around here, and we'll highlight the skin up as well. I'm quite happy with how that turned out. Perfect. Tony says, I used to devour books, fiction, non-fiction, classic, sci-fi, fantasy, horror. I even read the ingredients on packs if I didn't have a book. James says, how's that shaker? I want one, but for like a 20 quid, not 100. Yeah, we were just chatting about it earlier on, mate. You can get them on AliExpress for like 23 quid. You can get them on eBay for about 42 or something like that. You can get them on Amazon for, I think they're about like 55 quid on Amazon or something like that. So yeah, I definitely would not be spending 100 quid on one, mate, that's for sure. I'm not made of money. I think that's way too much for a paint shaker, personally. But I must admit they're good though. They're just not 100 quid good. Alright, we're just tidying this up a little bit. Show it on the screen again. Michael Cowan says, I live in Cumbria and nipped out to get my LFGS this evening to pick up some paint. My 30 minutes out of the house, it rained, was sunny, hailed, snowed, and was sunny again. It's unbelievable how we get like so many sort of different seasons. I would love to live somewhere where it was more predictable or warmer, or maybe one day. Maybe I'll retire there in my old age. Go off to sunnier climes. Right, we'll just tidy up that strap around these. Oops. I have to paint it back in again. Trying to get it on the stream at the same time. That's it. Just tie you around here a little bit. Just said it's always winter in concert. Jamie said only read RPG, tabletop gaming books and video game magazines till I was about my 20s. Yeah. Colin says that James Bray, look up tattoo ink shaker on Amazon. Same thing, but 30 quid. I saw those ones as well, mate, to be fair. I mean, I bought this one purely because it's exactly the same as the one that I had a chance to have a try of. And I was amazed by how good it was. So I didn't want to take a chance on buying a different one. So I just got the same one. Let's just tidy up the hands a little bit there. Start to come together. And then I'm just going to pick out. Tell you what, let me zoom in a little bit. That's better. Let me get the light. That's it. Matt says, similar weather in Belgium it seems. Every time I looked out the window, I saw a different season. Vijay says, action movies bore me. Never been a fan. Wow, mate. I think you've been watching the wrong action movies. I think that's the whole point of them. They're not meant to bore you. I do like an action movie, but I prefer horror. Horror is my genre of choice. If I could only watch one genre of film, it would be horror films. Right, just tie up the belt there a little bit. And then we'll get a little bit of metallic going as well. Where is it? Ah, that's why it moves. I nudge it with my shoulder when I turn around. Christian sharing the Amazon link as well. Thank you very much, mate. Marcus is saying, yeah, Vern was ahead of his time. Michael Cowan says, Jack Ryan was good. Binged a lot in lockdown and started on... I don't know why I'm trying to shake dry paints. Started on the Horus Heresy books a month or so ago. Didn't realise there were like 50 books. Yeah, that kind of stuff puts me off. I was saying that about watching like some TV series as well. Like sometimes when there's too many sort of seasons of a show and I'm well behind on it, kind of puts me off watching it because I just know I'll never kind of catch up. I'll never get through it all. Right, I'm just going to very lightly get on camera. So this is Necron compound, and I always like to just kind of very lightly just dry brush over the tops of any metallic stuff. It almost just kind of like looks a little bit like sort of scuffed or scratched metal. Gives a little bit of a shine to it. There we go. How are we doing for time? 10 o'clock. That's not too bad, is it? Alright, start to come together. Alright, time for a wash over the base, I think. And then we'll stop for a quick drink. So look, Marcus is going to be kind and drop a like. Thank you very much, Marcus. Stacey Brentwood says I used to read a lot, mainly Doctor Who novels, but sadly I don't really read now because I just don't have the time. Yeah, I think it's... I mean, I tend to find like sort of reading is something you need to make time for, if you like. And I tend to find, especially with having sort of having kids and stuff like that, just spare time seems to become sort of few and far between. Like even when I used to be travelling with work and stuff, and I was on my own in hotels, like I ended up probably like sitting in a hotel working and stuff like that in the night time. So it wasn't like I kind of had like loads of time on my hands even when I was on my own. And then obviously when you're at home and you've got kids, by the time you get them sorted and get them off to bed and sit down and have dinner, it's kind of it gets late. So yeah, I tend not to, like, it's not, I could make time for reading, I suppose, but there's always something else to do. I think is generally what happens. Just wash that down a little bit, get a little bit more detail into that. Let that dry, and then we'll bring that green up a little bit on the base. Just zoom up a touch. Right, let's have a bit of a natter, catch up a bit on the chat, and have my drink. John says, "Whoop." John said. He didn't say whoop. That was just me. John said, when I was growing up, we had a lot of time to fill, so reading came naturally when it was too cold and crappy to go anywhere. No internet, cell phones. When VCRs showed up, it was a new world. Yeah, I remember getting our first video recorder, or video player, before there were recorders. Frederick Schultz says, Nuclear Punk. Sounds like a really silly band name. You're not wrong, mate. He says, well, as Steel Punk, Diesel Punk, why not Nuclear Punk? Maybe we've just created a new genre. Marcus says, I have to admit that since I got out of college, I've not been reading as much as I used to. Would read a new book every 2 or 3 weeks. My wife used to read a lot. She doesn't read so much these days, but she used to read a lot. Jess says there's Atomic Punk. Lomid says like Dorset, yeah. Retired at Australia. Do you know what it is? I think I'd probably go to the States. I think I'd quite like to go and live in America. I had an opportunity to go and live in America a number of years ago, and the twins were quite young, and we had a lot of family around like nearby and stuff. So I just I kind of passed on the opportunity, but yeah, I think in the future, potentially, I'm talking when I'm much older and stuff, and obviously like my little one's grown up and kind of got his own family and all that kind of stuff, and he can come out and visit. But yeah, I think I'd like to retire to the States actually. Vicious in every other POM does. John says you used to live in Africa without fail, 35 every day. It got tedious very quickly. Yeah, 35 is a bit much. I mean, I think I'd be happy with like sort of 24, 25 degrees, something like that. It doesn't have to be like roasting hot. Just waking up to sunshine will be nice. Marcus, they're saying that they're like Godzilla in every giant bug movie. Local friendly gaming store, yes mate. Blizzard saying mines for tattoo inks too. It's all the same thing. Yeah, they all do a similar job, don't they? John said I only like the bloody weather 4 months a year here. This frozen barren place. Jess says one of the joys of British weather is that you don't like it, it's no bother. Different weather will be along in 5 minutes. I've heard that before. If you don't like the weather, just hang on, it'll change. Stacey Braindrin says that model is kind of reminding me of General Chang from Star Trek. I've never seen Star Trek. He says, okay, green stuff work complete. We'll take some pics in a bit and share them on Discord. Nice one, mate. It's for his Tabletop Minions mini swap, so no spoilers. I hate getting fingerprints out of green stuff. I know exactly what you mean, mate. Chub, I resemble that comment. If you like hot and humid, move to Bangkok. You won't then. No, it's not. I definitely don't like when I talk about like moving for the heat. Like here, generally a nice day is like sort of like 13 degrees, something like that. I would quite like to be kind of like mid-20s will be fine. 22 to 25 I'd be quite happy with. Tasty Brain Drain says to South Louisiana has the same effect. Jess says I used to read a lot and then I discovered interesting folks on YouTube. Oh, what channels are you watching, mate? maybe they'd be good. Mine is looking good, dude. John says, although the dampness lately is warmer rather than bone chilling quality, so I guess that's a good sign. Chris Wilson, good evening, mate. He said, if you hate constant weather changes, just avoid the Midwest. Yeah, I think like sort of, where would I go? I don't know, actually. I love Vegas. I quite happily move to Vegas, to the desert, but that is a bit hotter than I'm used to. Florida I could move to, I think. I could quite happily get old in Florida, I think. Kenneth Paulson says, that's a cool mini. Just finished my warband for Forbidden Psalm, so excited to jump in and start playing. Nice one, mate. Andy says, model was ace. It's coming on, mate. It's not doing too bad. John says, most of the jobs I've had are in kitchens in front of broilers and ovens. Wow, mate, over 100 degrees. Lobin says, a nice day here is when it doesn't rain. Yeah, and do you know what it is? Like it's definitely, it doesn't even necessarily have to be warm. It's just like if it's bright and it's not blowing a gale and it's not lashing it down with rain, it makes a huge difference to your kind of like your mental sort of state and your outlook on stuff. Like I think a lot of it is because we've been in lockdown and we've been stuck like at home, and now we can start to kind of go out and sort of eat and drink outdoors. The weather's just not good enough to kind of like to take advantage of that opportunity to do something different. So we're kind of hanging on until it, like me and my wife have obviously we can start to you can start to sort of eat and drink indoors and stuff, and people can come to your house and that very soon. I think it's like 2 weeks time or something like that. So my wife sorted out like a babysitter swap with her sister, and we've booked a meal in a local kind of in a local town for me and her just to go out and go to a restaurant and have some nice food and a bottle of wine and kind of have a night out. So I'm looking forward to that. Mike says, just back from the store, spent too much but justify it since I stopped myself from backing the Marvel Universe Kickstarter. I saw that's pretty expensive if you kind of go for an all-in one. It's about $1,000 or something stupid like that. James says, painting my Vicos Bloodborne from Curse City, slowly building up layers of very diluted contrast paint for trying to get a smooth new blend on their skin. I look forward to seeing how they look, mate. Marcus is saying, Stu says, there's no such thing as bad weather, just the wrong clothes. That is true. However, it's not much, like if it's raining and it's cold, it's not much fun sitting outside of a pub having a pint because you can't go in at the minute. God, Marcus says, I said before, my city has an average of 302 sunny days a year with an average temperature above 65. 65, is that normally about, I don't know what that is. That can't be 65 degrees Celsius, is it? Kenneth says, you'd be boiled alive. I'm sure there's isn't 65, is that probably about, is that 18 degrees, something like that, is it? Or is it more than that? Kenneth says, yes, based on that lovely darkness. John says, yes, sideways rain ain't fun when you got to walk a few miles. The direction the wind is blowing. Yeah, you're not wrong, mate. You're not wrong. So, how's this doing? Let's have a little look. It's starting to come out. I tell you what I always say, folks, I can't decide whether I'm happy with something. Let me zoom out a little bit. Until the rim of the base is painted. There's too much kind of like light grey white there, and it's distracting. It's hard to decide if like what I think of it. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a drink, and then we're going to paint the Abaddon black, or Abaddon black I should say, around the rim of the base. Let me just give that a bit of a shake up. Christian says, have you seen the Pirates of the Dead Sea 3D print file Kickstarter? The all-in is 50 quid, 40 quid limited to 99 backers. I have seen it, mate. Not only have I seen it, he sent me all the files to take a look at, but I've not had a chance to open up the files and have a look at them yet. So at some point I'll probably have a look at them and tell you what I think. But yeah, today he sent me a message saying I've linked you all the files in my mini factory. So yeah, it's a good deal, mate. To be fair, I've got the original metal minis that he sent me last year for the Pirates of the Dread Sea, and there's some lovely sculpts in there. So yeah, it'll be interesting just to see how how they compare with the STLs. So at some point I'll print a few off and kind of show them off. Marcus says high altitude deserts are odd because the weather can get so weird. Oh, let's get on camera. And storms are the worst when the ground and the sky are the same colour. Yeah, I bet. Let's just get this on, let that one dry off a little bit, and we'll give it another coat. Vijay saying, yeah, looked at Marvel United X-Men, but I think I'm going to pick up the Avengers one at retail instead. Cheaper and no shipping. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? At the minute with Kickstarters and stuff, you don't really know what the finished price is going to be. I'm definitely tempted to pick up Marvel Crisis Protocol, mind. I feel like it's getting to a point now where it's got enough options now that it could be worth a punt. I'm hearing lots of good stuff about it. I think it's getting picked up locally as well. Like there seems to be a few local players playing it. But we'll see. I've got plenty of other things on my plate before I get to that stuff. See, I think just painting the rim of the base completely changes the model. Like taking that brightness away from it, it looks completely different already. John saying, yeah, 65 is about 18 degrees, I'd take that. Yeah, I thought that's roughly what it was about. I'd take 18 degrees as well, mate. Like, I think when we hit kind of like low 20s here, or kind of high teens, it generally feels like a nice day. So yeah, I'd take that as well, mate. Yeah, Busey said, I heard someone on the radio the other week saying they never thought they would be eating a meal outside with gloves on. Do you know what, mate? Me and my wife and my little boy went for breakfast at the weekend to a local place and sat outside and had breakfast, and it was quite nice when we set off and when we sat down, and then the sun went behind a cloud, and it really did come in chilly, but by which point we'd already ordered our food and paid for it, and we had a full English breakfast, and I tell you what, the food cooled down very, very quickly. It's not like, it's nice to kind of to be able to go out and kind of do things together as a family and like sit and eat out, but we just don't get the weather for it. Honestly, it's like it's been really disappointing. Like when I took the boys out to go for a few drinks for their birthday, like to kind of celebrate their 18th, like sort of, albeit like 6 months later or something. Again, when the sun was kind of out in the sky, it wasn't too bad. It was like I was like sitting with I think I had like a t-shirt and like a shirt on, but when the sun went behind the clouds, it really come in chilly, and it wasn't quite as kind of as fun as it could have been. So I'm both looking forward to summer and being able to kind of go and sit inside and kind of have food and have a drink and stuff like that as well. Because I remember like there's a pub not too far away from me. And I remember in the winter when you couldn't sit inside, you could sit out. You could go inside with somebody from your household or from your bubble, but you had to sit outside with people who weren't in your bubble. And I remember driving past, and there was people like in proper winter coats with their hoods up, like zipped up, like sort of gloves on, like sitting with a pint, kind of like sitting having a conversation. And it's like I can appreciate you making the effort to spend some time with your friends, but like it's not enjoyable like that. Like I know it's a very different sort of situation and things, but it's amazing what people will do just to kind of sit and have a beer. Where are we up to? Tony says he's saving cash here now, having just bought Griffin House from Fenris Games. Don't know what that is, mate. Jim saying, I think the belt skulls need a little bit brown tone on them, maybe a bit of Agrax. Yeah, I'm going to tone them down a little bit, mate. I think I like skulls to be toned down with null oil. I think they look nice with a black wash as opposed to a brown wash. So I will get to that, but I'll do that last. So I'm just kind of just thinly just layering up around the base, just to get it matted down a little bit, really. Right. Fiji says, "Yeah, you finally did get the pub with the boys. Yeah, great to hear it." So we went. There's a new brewery opened not too far from me, and they obviously had outdoor tables, and they had like a gourmet burger truck came along and was doing burgers. So it was quite nice to actually sort of to sit with the kids, have a beer, and sort of we had some nice food. But like I say, I think like when it was getting a bit chilly, it was like it felt like forced fun a little bit. Like it was just like sitting there like, this is not great, is it? So I'm looking forward to being able to kind of do things properly with them. Bliss says, I just want to get Sinister Six and Doctor Doom. Marcus says, I would go for a few of the Spider-Man characters and make a diorama. James says, we went hard on the hot mulled wine round the chimney this year. Probably never again, but it was a novelty for the Christmas. Do you know what it is? We've got like a nice like fire pit and stuff like that. But the problem is, it's either like really cold, like too cold that even the fire pit doesn't really make much difference, or it's like the wind's blowing sideways across it, or it's really wet. Like I don't mind it being a bit chilly. That's the whole point of like sitting and putting the fire pit on. But when it's just unbearable, like there's been nights when it's like I've been determined to do something different than sit in front of the TV, and we sat outside like at the fire pit, and I've had like a woolly hat on and a big coat, and it's just like who we're kidding? Like it's just not nice enough. It's just like determined to do something. Right. Colin Scott says, I have to stay away from Kickstarter. I've got too much in my backlog to clear. 3 full box games and another due in the autumn. Yeah, I've not really kind of backed much on Kickstarter for quite some time, really. I've kind of been stung a couple of times when I've backed stuff, and then I've not even had mine yet, and I've seen it for cheaper at retail, where retailers have booked like a Kickstarter retailer pledge, and they've got theirs and they're selling it for cheaper than I paid for my Kickstarter plus the shipping. So, and then with all the Brexit stuff and the VAT and all the changes and stuff that's been happening recently, it's just there's too much risk, I think. Right, I think that's not looking too bad. I think what I'll do is I'll get a little bit of sepia and just wash it into the eye sockets and stuff, just to give it a little bit of texture on the face. James says, feeling confident about the next few months. It's going to feel a lot more normal a week on Monday. Yeah, I'm kind of feel like that, mate, as well. For how long, I'm not sure, but yeah, fingers crossed. It feels like we're making progress. And the thought of maybe getting a holiday this year is starting to feel a little bit more realistic. Just oops, a bit much on there. Just get into the recesses a little bit. Colin said, I have to admit, I see a lot of 3D print minis that make me think a 3D printer could be a nice investment. I hummed and hawed for a long time, mate, about getting one, and I did a lot of research, and I'll be honest, I've not regretted purchasing mine. I haven't printed nearly as much as I would have liked to, but a lot of that's just been down to the fact that I've been busy doing other stuff. But you won't be able to hear it, but one of my printers is kind of is working away next door there, and the other one just finished literally before the stream started. So in fact, I might be able to show you the bases that I printed off. Just a little bit of highlight there, just to tidy up some of that wash. I don't think that's a million miles off. We need a little bit more green, I think, on the greenery around the bottom there. So I think we'll come in with a little bit of Caliban green, just to darken it up a touch. James is saying, plan to visit my old man in Florida in October. Not seen him for 2 years. Wow, mate. I'll tell you what, it'd be nice to catch up. That's for sure. Christian's off the bed. He's got to get up for work. Nice one, mate. Thank you very much for coming in. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll speak to you tomorrow. I will see you on camera. James says he's looking forward to D&D tomorrow. Yeah, he's going to be more sensible. I'm sure you said that last time, mate, as well. I'm sure you said that last time. Chris Wilson says, have you considered drilling out the gun barrels on that? I don't do it in big games, but more skirmish games, I'll drill the barrels out. Do you know what it is, mate? I've always done it like on like 40k minis, but I don't think I tend to do it like on other ones. I think it's because most of the games I've played tend to not have like guns big enough to have the barrels drilled out. But I must admit, as I've seen it, kind of, yeah, I probably will actually. I'll probably do it once it's all finished, because it is quite a big barrel on the gun, isn't it? Right, I think I'll let that dry. It's still a little bit damp with some of the wash there. I think we'll let that one dry and tidy it up later. And I think what I'll do is very quickly is just highlight some of that green up on the trousers here where the wash. Oh, sorry folks about being off camera, like I said before. I'm still getting used to the new kind of position and stuff. And just pick up some of the highlights on that. And just get on the eye patch there as well. Tie up a little bit of the skin around the eye patch as well, and then I think we'll probably call that one done for tonight. As good as it needs to be. There we go. So that, I got no idea what the character's called. I must be honest, but yeah. So that is that. There we go. So let me just put that there so it doesn't fall over. Nice. Get a miniature finish. It was quite a nice feeling to get something finished for a change. Let's have a look. Colin saying, yeah, I know about the risk. I backed Hero Quest and seeing the mini quality on Twitter that looks like a Ninja Turtle. Oh god. But he says, yeah, give us an action shot of the Neptune running. I'll tell you what I will do. I'll tell you what I'll do. I will very quickly. Is it worth me doing it? I'll tell you what, I'll be right back, okay? Don't go anywhere. I'll be about 30 seconds. Right, I'm back. I can't take you through for the right, let me just pause that. So what I'll do is, if I go to this camera, this is probably the best way to show you. If I can get that. There you go. So that's my, there we go. That's what I'm busy printing at the minute next door. It's part of a building, and it's printing away there. It's been going since about 10 o'clock this morning, to be fair. So I'll just press play on that one again so you can see it there. So yeah, it's quite. I could sit and watch it all day. I'll be honest. It took me quite a few prints to stop getting obsessed and just keep watching it. But yeah, they're pretty funky. So let me get my chat back up. Right. Right, where are we up to here? Chrissy says, yeah. Nice interlude, thank you very much. John says, okay, three different dinners started fussy. Vijay says, wow, it's really bucketing down here. I can hear the rain on the roof. So I've also been printing these as well, if I can get them on camera. I've been printing these bases. Is that gonna focus? I can't see if it's focused. Yeah, I think it has. So these are kind of like wood bases. I wonder if I can get a little bit. Let's get some light on them as well. There we go. So I've just been printing these off as well. They need to clean up a little bit where I've taken off the supports and stuff. But these are got the little kind of holes in the bottom as well for to put magnets in. So these are what I've been coming off the resin printer. So give you kind of an idea. So I'm going to use these ones for some of my Malifaux models. We've got two of that one. So yeah, I'm quite happy with how they've come out, and they've come out nice and clean as well. So we'll get some models based on those ones. Let's have a look. Busey says, nice one, thanks. You're welcome, mate. You're welcome. Let me get that light out of the way. ZB says, what do people do with leftover resin or bad print? With a bad print, mate, I tend to wash it, cure it, and then bin it, basically, just so once it's being cured, it's not so bad. But yeah, you don't want to be putting like uncured resin into the bin and stuff like that. With sort of leftover resin, you just put it back in the bottle, just use it until it's all gone. So you don't really have leftover resin, really, mate. Just said amazing robo wizardry. Yeah, I think they're fascinating to watch. Busey says, did you buy those terrain files? Yeah, I did, mate. There was a Kickstarter last year, I think it was. But I backed them as like a late backer through my mini factory. And this, I think I've shown you this one before. Let me just grab this terrain building. So this is the let me back a little bit. I think I've shown you this building before. This is the other one that I printed. It's from the same range. So let me just get some light on it so you can see it a bit. So yeah, that's from the same range as well. And then obviously it separates out as well, so you can play inside the buildings. And it's got a door that opens as well. But yeah, it's all from the same range. So this one here is a small house, and the one I'm printing is the large house, and it comes in quite a few parts, and it takes quite some time to print off. But so these are the ones that I'm printing to use for Malifaux as well. And just to give you an idea of kind of scale and size, it's, you know, it's not too bad. I probably should have upscaled these a little bit, but I think they're good enough, and they're already big files before I kind of upscale them anymore. So yeah, so that's what I'm printing at the moment. Another one of these buildings from this range. I think it's called, is it Firwood or something like that, the range? I can't remember now, to be fair. John saying science fiction come to life. Wow, it's amazing, isn't it? Like technology now. Jez is saying nice bases. Yeah, VG says any good Blitzball base STLs. Let me have a look, mate, because I've just getting loads, and I'm sure there'll be some. It depends what kind of base you want. Do you want them like dungeon bases? Do you want them like kind of like a pitch, like grass bases? I'm not really sure which kind you'd like. John says, I'm going to need to find a new source of skeletons. My 2 boxes of the old Warhammer regiments just about all being used up. Vijay says that the BGM is getting pretty dubsteppy. Skrillex DJing during the live stream. I can't hear it, mate. I've got no idea what it sounds like. Yeah, everyone's saying very nice. Yeah, all right in there. I mean, it all needs kind of like priming and stuff like that and getting painted up. But yeah, I think it'll do all right with just a basic kind of like sort of spray can sort of zenithal type thing, and then pick out a few bits of details. I'm not planning on going overboard with them. So yeah, dungeon, grass, anything really. Let me have a look, mate, because I like I said, with these ones I've just got these files. I've just got loads of different types of bases, so I'll have a look and see if there's anything in those that would kind of fit the bill. But so these bases came in 32mm, and I just downsized them like sort of 97.5% or something like that to take them down to 30mm, and they seem to be. Let me just move this again. Oops, I'll move this out the way. It seems to have sized. Let me scroll in. They seem to have sized up okay. So 30mm for Malifaux bases. They seem to have sized up pretty perfect, so I'm happy with that. Height wise, they're not too bad. So yeah, it just gives me a bit of a different theme for kind of like wood bases, or like, you know, like kind of forest. And I think these kind of the Explorers Guild, or whatever they're called, the Explorers Society, kind of, I like the idea of them being out in the forest and stuff. But I don't want them all to have exactly the same kind of bases, so these just mix it up a little bit. So yeah, I'm happy with those. ZB says, is there a risk of fire with home 3D printing? I'm very interested in trying it. Not any worse than kind of like having your fridge running all the time kind of thing, or, you know, like at the end of the day, it's just like it's an electric device. It's the same as having like anything. Like there's if do you mean like, is the resin flammable? To be honest, there's nothing in it that would really kind of would set it alight. The resin is in like a little bath, and there's basically a plate comes in and a plate comes out of it. Nothing else touches it really. Like the UV light comes up through like a film at the bottom, so like it's just light shining through it. It's no, from a kind of like a safety point of view when it comes to like fire and things, it's no worse than having a fridge with the compressor and the motor running all the time, or kind of having a TV on standby all night or anything like that. Not as far as I'm concerned anyway. Colin says to VG, if you want a good Hero Quest reboot, check out Lynchmire Dungeons range by Zealot Miniatures. Peter says, during my search earlier, I found a part set of the old Hero Quest. I shall have a proper look at tomorrow. I really don't know what's missing. Doing your search at home. I thought you'd saw something online, mate. Oh, that's cool then. I'm sure you could always get, you can certainly get things 3D printed and fill in the missing bits, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm kind of, I must admit, I know some of you folks bought these same files and stuff for these, and I'm kind of impressed with how they've turned out. Not too bad at all. I did print these ones with supports as well. I didn't print them like flat on the bed. I printed these ones kind of on their side with supports, but the supports cleaned off lovely. And I changed some of the settings as well. And I tell you what, they came off the build plate absolutely no problem. The little spatula thing went straight underneath them and just lifted them straight off. They came off like an absolute dream. And the supports like just sort of peeled off. Really, really clean. I was happy with those. So yeah, I've had to buy some more filament for the printer, because I want the building I'm printing, I'll probably run out of filament before it gets to the end of the building. So I've got some of that on order to come on Friday. So I'm just going to keep, like, now it's all set up in here, and I'm working in here during the day. I can literally just keep setting it away and keep kind of like putting a new file on, because some of the files take quite some time. They can take like 24 hours to print some files and things. And certainly if you're trying to do sort of higher quality, the files will take longer to print as well, because the layer height is smaller. So, but it's one of those things, you kind of set it away in the morning, just like, and leave it and forget about it, and like you don't have to do anything with the file. You can just like sort of leave it and come back when it's done. It's like dead time. It's not like you're having to kind of constantly keep an eye on it or do anything with it. So for me, it's like if I bought a building, that building I just showed you, if I bought it, I could order one online and pay for it, and then wait sort of like 2 or 3 days for it to be delivered, or I can just press the printer and wait 2 or 3 days for it to be printed. So it's like, in the long run, it'll save me a lot of money when it comes to sort of terrain for the channel. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Said B saying, awesome, thanks for the info. You are welcome, mate. And Beauty says, they sent a text file with the basis for the settings. Takes a lot longer, mind changing to 0.3 layer. I printed these off at 0.3, mate, but I must admit that the text file with the base settings, like the kind of like the first layer settings and stuff, definitely improved on where mine was. Mine were coming off like okay. I had to give them a bit of a knock to get them off, but these ones just peeled off lovely and clean. So yeah, I think I'm happy with those new settings now. But yeah, it's not going too bad. Not going too bad. So yeah, it's nice to kind of get all this stuff set up. Get to a point where I feel like I'm kind of the end's in sight now. Like I said, the table over there is absolutely covered in miniatures. So that's all got to go into boxes that arrived today. Those really useful boxes came today. I've been waiting for them. They were supposed to be next day delivery, coming on Monday, and they only just came today. So that's been holding me up a little bit. But I'm kind of happy it's coming together now. It feels like definitely the end's in sight, and I can get back to making videos properly. So yeah, looking forward to that. How are we doing on time? 10 to 11. Right, I think, folks, we might as well start to wrap that up now. I think I've probably rambled enough tonight. It was nice to actually finish a miniature on stream. So we actually did. Let me just move those to one side. We actually did paint something tonight for a change, and we actually got it. I mean, it ain't going to win any awards, but I'm more than happy with it. It fits in with it fits in with the other ones I've done for the range. Kind of got the same greens on there as well, and the creams and the browns, so it all feels kind of cohesive. I'll kind of tidy up those green bits on the base tomorrow, because as you can see, they're a little bit different on there as well. A little bit kind of lighter. We'll darken them down a little bit, but otherwise, I'm pretty happy with that. Pretty happy with how it turned out. So, what we got here? Busy saying I need to order the magnets and the sheets. Do you know what, mate? The sheets are not that, like, they don't hold them that strong. If you really want them to hold them strong, you're better off putting metal like baking trays in the bottoms of those boxes. I've tried it with those like magnetic sheets, and they're not great. They're all right if you're just kind of holding them, but if you tip them upside down, they'd all fall over, or if you kind of shook the box, they'd fall off. But if you use like baking trays, which are, to be fair, are about the same price, they absolutely stick. You could hang them upside down, you could shape them around, and they wouldn't move at all. I find those magnetic sheets are just not quite strong enough. Lord saying, thank you, Andy. Take care, everyone. And Peter says, nice work on those minis. They should look great on table in a game. 100%, mate. That's the plan. So, folks, thank you very much, everybody that's joined me tonight. Thank you very much to Fast Panda, who joined the Patreon tonight. I will be saying hello to him in the Discord chat later on. And I will see you all next Monday for Monday Night Live Stream. So, take care. Have a fantastic weekend. And I'll see you then. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month. And there is lots of different tiers and bonuses, which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.